meet my bride. Let's go for a ride in my newfangled automobile. Here's where we will go. Nobody knows, but it's sure a great way to feel. Behind the wheel of the speed meter steel, it's my newfangled automobile.
Hello and welcome to Vintage Car History. I'm Wild Bill. Just like modern car manufacturing, over 100 years ago, cars were made of components. Engines, transmissions, brakes, axles, steering gears. If you wanted to make cars, you had to either make all the components yourself, buy them from someone else, or do a blend of the two. And what components were outsourced came down to a very simple analysis. Would it cost more to do it myself? And in early automotive history, one company made dash gauges so well and so cheaply that most car makers just bought their speedometers from them. Stewart, Warner. Of course, the story begins with two fellows, John Stewart and Arthur Warner. Despite them being born quite far from each other, Stewart in Nashua, New Hampshire, and Warner in Jacksonville, Florida, they may as well have been twins, because they were so alike. Born only months apart, John in late 1869, Arthur in early 1870, they had everything in common. Well, we'll start with John. John Stewart was the son of a factory worker, just like Arthur. He was, like his counterpart, an engineering genius, and by the age of 21 had several patents under their belts and established companies to exploit them. But Stewart did not have a happy childhood and kept it a secret for life. Indeed, he changed his name to John Kerwin Stewart to escape his past. Otherwise, he'd be known by his birth name, Terence O'Brien, a name he despised after falling out with his family and father. Now, John did not have much to do with his family, and so got into business with a friend he could trust, which was Thomas Clark. Clark invented a heating system that could be used in carriages or even automobiles, and the two of them got into business together in 1890, making various tools and implements such as hedge trimmers, sheep shearers, bicycle parts, and other forged products. Meanwhile, Arthur Warner was building a similar business. Also, he didn't have a falling out with the family and was partnered with his brother, who was a gifted businessman. Arthur went to Wisconsin and with his brother Charles established a company to manufacture a speedometer that was magnetically actuated in 1904. They initially meant the product to be used on elevators and such, but it would prove to be ideal for automotive use. At that time, Stewart was also focused on cars, making horns, sirens, heaters, and speedometers, and the two men met. Now, I'm not going to say that it was a bromance, but they hit it off and, as businessmen, joined forces. Stewart, Warner, and Clark would make Speedos. Clark would even promote them, which unfortunately led to his death in 1907 while driving a Packard in a rally. I mean, it was raining, he slid in the mud, the car went into a ditch, rolled, and killed him. He died the next day. Nonetheless, the Stewart-Warner Company was established in 1905. Stewart bought out the company that Warner had established in order to merge them together. And the product they offered was truly groundbreaking. True, they were already making heaters, horns, and even sirens for emergency cars, but their speedometer was revolutionary. The way it worked was magnetic instead of directly mechanical. The magnets could be installed on the wheel, axle, or wherever needed, and the pickup for the speedo would take the magnetic information and indicate the true speed of the dashboard for the driver. What made this system so revolutionary is the magnetic transfer of data. If the speedometer had to be completely mechanical, it would have to be designed for the specific model of car every time. With an indirect coupling, magnetic in this case, no such special design was needed. It could be adapted to any car without any significant engineering. And it was. By 1906, the new company Stewart Warner had many products available for many industries. But the universal speedometer was special. In the first decade of the 20th century, it was the only product available on the market that could be adapted to work on any car. And a certain Henry Ford caught wind of this and decided that the Model T should and would have a speedometer, and it would be provided by Stewart Warner. Stewart Warner was one of the first major OEM, or meaning original equipment manufacturer, of car components at such a wide scale. The design of the speedometer was such that it could be used on any car, taking the speed, from the wheels, or the drive shaft, or transmission. I mean, wherever the car design allowed. And around the world in the first quarter of the 20th century, Stewart Warner dominated the industry. And they're still a dominant force in the industry to this day. Thanks for watching Vintage Car History, and I'll see you next week. Peace.